We're back in the swamp for more Detective Grimoire in Boggy's Bog. And we're basically got almost everything on all the suspects except for Mr. Agent in the museum and Mr. Echo over here. We can challenge him now though. Spends a lot of time in his tent recently, shares many views with Agent Folder. And he's not been putting effort into protesting recently. Protesting, I should say. So we're gonna challenge Mr. Echo.
Ah.
I heard you've been spending less time protesting recently and more time, in your tent. Normally I wouldn't pry, but it's my job to ask...
Untouched people have even noticed something like that. I usually get the impression everyone else is doing their best to ignore me.
So, you admit it's true?
You can put your notebook away. There isn't really any reason for it. Nothing worth writing down, at least.
Well, if it's not worth writing down, maybe it's worth hearing.
In that case, you'd forget it.
How do you know? Maybe it would echo in my mind.
Look, if you take a guess and get it right, I promise not to deny it.
Let's work out why Echo was hidden away in his tent. Notebook time.
Okay. I have a silly nickname. Actually, this ghost is in another game by these people. I think he's making... What? He's hiding from the tax collectors? He's hiding from the ghost. He's hiding from the weather. He's hiding from... Boggy. I forgot his name.
You've been in your tent, hiding from Boggy.
Why not?
Yeah. We're done talking to him? Okay. Let's go to the clearing and talk to these guys.
The famous director, and my friend. A prolific cameraman with exceptional skills at carrying heavy equipment.
Lol. You feel like you're done talking to him, do you?
Try showing it to somebody different.
Okay.
Yes, that's my photograph, taken near the woods at the north end of Boggy's Bog. Have you tried looking there?
Maybe.
He's been working with me for a number of years. A real expert, of course. Now there's a man who could handle himself.
I'm not so sure.
Well, apart from yesterday. That was just a one-off, wasn't it?
For him, I think so, yes.
Yeah. For him, I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah. Okay, feels like I'm done talking to him? Okay. Sure, why not?
So.
Feels like I'm done talking to him? Okay.
Oh, yes, I know him. He occasionally asks me about the history and biology of the swamp creature. I explained to him what the real Boggy looks like and how they changed his appearance for the cartoon character.
Why did he ask about that?
Because some people are naturally curious. You should give it a try sometime.
I do it all the time.
Actually, this is a classic example of a cryptid photograph.
What's a cryptid?
A creature unknown to science. Look at the slight blurring in this photo, the murky exposure. It's perfect.
It's perfect because it can't really be used as evidence?
Now you're catching on.
Ha. Yeah.
I have no interest in something like that. Obviously.
Really?
Well, this design is some bizarre hybrid between the real creature and the cartoon character.
Cool.
This file goes over some basic differences between the genuine creature and the cartoon character. It's nothing more than a basic overview, really. An important piece of the puzzle. This journal is a key to unlocking the history of this place.
Okay, but where's the last page, though?
A good example of how Boggy's feet are never shown in any form. They often use that little red bucket to hide them.
Cool. Alright, so we got something more on on him, I think. Shared knowledge of the swamp creature with Echo. So it's just something more about Echo we need. Is there someone we don't have? No, we've challenged everyone except Lady Weybridge. Okay. I guess we should ask... We need one more clue. And... we need to get into his tent.
So,
how do we get into his tent? Well, that is what we need to figure out, isn't it? Oh, yeah, no. Well, we've spoken to him.
It's an old statue of
Boggy.
Is an opportunity. The two characters.
Are they fighting? Oh, hello.
You again. Ready with some cryptic advice, no doubt?
Don't let them take him.
Who? The murderer? That's my job. I gotta make sure that they...
No, the creature. Don't take him away. This place is his home.
Oh, Boggy. Hey, don't worry. I didn't really believe he could be, responsible for this mess.
You didn't?
Well, no.
Mainly because I didn't believe he existed at all.
Mainly because I didn't believe he existed at all.
So, he won't get in trouble? You won't have to leave?
Well, he's been out here for what, 60 years, hasn't he? And stayed out of trouble for that long. I have a feeling some detective isn't going to change all that in one day.
Well, in that case, he says... thank you.
Oh. Okay. Are you Boggy? Was she Boggy? Was she Boggy? Oh my god, was she Boggy? Was she Boggy? What? Okay, someone has to know about... You have to be able to get the crazy lady to talk. Somehow.
This is a 60-year-old journal. It was on display in a museum.
I know what it is.
I thought you might. I'm supposed to look to the past, right?
The explorer, maybe? Lady Weybridge built the museum because... the swamp creature became a famous cartoon character? I don't know.
Lady Weybridge built the museum because the swamp creature became a famous cartoon character. I don't get it. Seriously.
Fine.
Lady Weybridge built the museum because the swamp creature was discovered by the explorers 60 years ago. I think that's pretty close. I'm starting to piece together the history of this place. Lady Weybridge was living in the swamp when the swamp creature was discovered by the explorers 60 years ago. Lady Weybridge. She was living here when Boggy was first discovered by the explorer.
Aha.
I've been looking into the history of this place.
Oh, really? Did you find anything?
Yeah. You.
You must be confused. You found me today when you barged into my house. Remember?
Maybe. You were the original founder of tourist attraction. You created the myth of the swamp creature yourself to scare people away. You were living in the swamp when the explorer visited 60 years ago.
You were already living in the swamp when the explorer came here 60 years ago.
The explorer? That man they talk about in the museum?
The one who originally discovered Boggy. You know who I'm talking about. His sketches and notes are the only real evidence we have for this creature.
You already have his journal. You learned to read, I assume. What else do you need?
I need you to tell me if the journal is a fake. There's a page missing from the journal. I think you know where it is. I think you wrote something in the journal yourself.
There's a page missing from the journal. I think you know where it is.
Why on earth would I know something like that?
Because you were the only person here when the explorer visited the swamp. I have a suspicion that the swamp creature wasn't the only thing he discovered.
You're suggesting he gave me a page from the back of his journal? Or what, that I stole it?
I really have no idea. If I could see it, I might be able to make up my mind. You took it from the journal while it was on display on the museum. You stole it from him when he left the swamp.
You took it from the journal while it was on display in the museum. And let's think about this one again.
Ha, drats.
I've been looking...
Oh, really? Did you find anything?
Yeah.
I've never...
You.
Okay, well that's
must
what
be
happens
confused.
when you
found
fail
me
a
today,
challenge.
When you barged into my house.
Yes, lady.
Remember?
Yes.
You were already living in the swamp when the explorer came here 60 years ago.
The explorer? That man they talk about in the museum?
Yep.
The one who originally discovered Boggy. You know who I'm talking about. His sketches and notes are the only real evidence we have.
You already have his journal. You learned to read, I assume. What else do you need?
Page is missing.
There's a page missing from the journal. I think you know where it is.
Why on earth would I know something like that?
Because you were the only person here when the explorer visited the swamp. I have a suspicion that the swamp creature wasn't the only thing he discovered.
You're suggesting he gave me a page from the back of his journal?
Yep.
Or what, that I stole it?
I really have no idea. If I could see it, I might be able to make up my mind.
I really have no idea. If I could see it, I might be able to make up my mind.
It doesn't belong in a museum. It belongs here, with me. You understand?
What if I promise I'll return it after I finish clearing up this mess?
Then I'll show it to you.
Is this you? He drew you into his journal? It's beautiful.
60 years ago, yes. He left the page with me. We agreed the rest of the world would manage without it.
I think there's something on the back. What's this?
It's Boggy's feet! Oh my gosh! Wait, is the redheaded little girl her daughter?
Footprints.
The lost page ripped out of the explorer's journal, given to Weybridge by the explorer 60 years ago, features a drawing of Lady Weybridge at 20 years old. Also features drawings of Boggy's feet and footprint. He has 2 toes at the front and 1 at the back. This page proves the footprints found outside the office were not made by the real Boggy.
He drew me into his journal. I was 20 years old. That's the end of the story.
I bet it's not. Does this explorer have a name?
Yes?
Are you going to tell me?
No.
Whoopsie.
I think it's time I went to talk to Officer James.
Chapter 4, the beginning of the end. But, his tent. No, I want to talk to him in his tent.
Ah. This is the journal, correct? The one that man left here 60 years ago?
You seem a little unsure of the details. Shouldn't you have read up on all this stuff?
Forgive me. It's hard for me to get the image of Boggy as the lovable cartoon character out of my mind. He's just so iconic. Did you know, in 1973, he...
But you're protesting to protect the real swamp creature. The cartoon character is just some commercial byproduct, right?
Yes, of course.
Or is he? Alright, so actually we got the last part of him, which was... doesn't know much about the real swamp creature. Awesome. Alright, now we have everything on the suspects. The only thing left is basically his tent. So I presume he did it, and he's hiding the costume in his tent? Or something? I thought we had all the evidence, but apparently something is missing. Okay, let's go back to Officer James.
The water is black and deep.
You finally returned. Well, did you find the swamp creature? Where is he?
What swamp creature?
I didn't find him.
What? You're not getting paid to wander about aimlessly, Grimoire. Get back out there.
I don't need to.
The final chapter, Boggy's criminal record. But, I want to get into his tent. Back. I want to get into his tent. How do I get into the tent?
Ah.
What can you tell me about...
How do I get into his
I'm
tent?
impressed someone managed to picture... And I...
Wait, 1973? Could it be that? I'm just guessing here. Because he said something about 1973.
It's a colorful, boggy-themed padlock. He's...
Can you do this now, or do we do this later? I want to get into his tent. I guess we're not. How are we supposed to know this code? Really? Fine. Swamp Dock. Alright, final chapter. Oh, fifth, final chapter. Boggy's criminal record.
Why not? I thought he was our prime suspect.
Not anymore.
Didn't you find photographic evidence of Boggy from last night? Let me see that photo. If that's not Boggy, what is it?
I found designs for the costume in a trash can. Not only that, I collected all the pieces of the costume myself. Well, nearly all of them. There's still the one that...
But the footprints at the scene of the crime! How can you prove these don't belong to a real creature? What's this? I thought there were no records of a footprint anywhere.
No public records. The footprints at the crime scene don't match the ones on this page. They were just a product of these slippers. A part of the costume.
But Grimoire, this costume, it doesn't have claws of any kind.
Nope.
How do you explain the 3 wounds on the victim's chest?
Easy peasy.
The prongs match up with the wounds perfectly. The handle's even covered in slime, see?
But this swamp slime was one of the reasons Boggy became a suspect in the first place. Surely this only incriminates the creature further.
You think so, wouldn't you?
really.
But that slime, it's not exactly what you think. This stuff is an uncanny resemblance to the so-called swamp slime. A bunch of it was stolen from the storeroom of the cafe, which reminds me.
What is that, exactly?
A poisoned hot dog. It's the second reason that the murderer broke into the storeroom. He put this green powder on the entire supply, just to make sure.
To make sure of what?
To make sure Remington get ill and had to return to his office. To make sure everyone in the swamp would be poisoned. To make sure no one would eat at the cafe ever again.
To make sure Remington got ill and had to return to his office.
Remington went back to his office? Alone?
Final chapter, the murderer. Oh, I'm sorry, the murder.
I've been looking through your evidence, Grimoire. One piece in particular seems critical to me. I think we need to work
The
out.
video footage? Vincent Vanderpeer filmed it last night, at the exact moment of the murder, I believe.
Well, exactly. I think we can both agree these sounds in the background. They're essential in our mystery. Could you talk me through them? Just rearrange the descriptions on the left to match the sounds on the right. Drag them around and keep swapping until you're happy with the order. And if you want to hear the sounds again, you can tap on them.
No problem. I can always check my case file if I want to go over my notes.
Okay. So, yeah, we're still missing. We don't have 100% there, and for some reason, not 100% here. I don't get that, but anyways. Rips off a curtain. There, ripping. creaking, opens his door. In shock as Boggy appears. In shock as he falls backwards. Drops the metal poker in the office. Fires his hunting rifle. On the planks. Culprit grabs the metal poker and stabs. No, like that.
I think that's it.
Yes.
Ah, excellent. There's just two small details bothering me. First of all, if Remington ripped off a piece of his curtains, why wasn't it found at the crime scene? What happened to it?
Turns out the murderer took that piece of fabric and concealed it inside the head of the costume. Then he fled the crime scene to hide all the parts in different areas of the swamp.
Ah, well, that's my problem. If Remington fired his rifle, how did the assailant survive and manage to escape? Did Remington miss his target?
At point blank? A man of his experience? I don't think so. In fact, the answer to that question is the very last link in our chain. The one thing that has eluded me so far. I'll drag the clue items from the left onto my drawing here, and we'll see what happens when we compare the pieces I collected with the original design I found.
Hello, I am the murderer. Yeah, where's this part?
Wait, you never found the body piece, the torso.
Is that in the tent?
You're right, and I never would have found it. Not lying around. Not like the others.
Because it has a hole in it from the bullet.
But what does this have to do with the murderer surviving the rifle shot?
This torso is probably made up of some thick material.
It's Echo.
Something covering the culprit's entire upper body.
Totally
I
Echo.
believe it may have even been enough to
Soften the impact from a bullet. Aha!
Exactly.
Well, let's put your theory to the test. Where is that last piece of the costume?
Well, duh.
But how? We looked everywhere. Not a single clue.
Simple. He's still wearing it.
Or it's in his tent? I want to know what's in his tent! What is in his tent?
I don't know what you want with me. Sounds like you two were smart enough to uncover the real criminal in this swamp, and lucky enough to have somebody else deal with him for you. You worked it out. He had his rifle on him. He got half a glance at me and pulled the trigger without hesitation.
But why would he do that? You were dressed as Boggy. He shouldn't be pointing his gun at a unique scientific specimen, not to mention his main attraction.
You're right. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, does it? Not unless you're in on the secret.
What's in his tent? Oh god, are we never gonna know what's in his tent? Aww. That's... Richard Remington was eaten by Boggy. Was stolen by Boggy. Was here to hunt Boggy.
Our police file forgot to tell me that Richard Remington was here to hunt Boggy. What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know.
Echo forgot to tell me that Richard Remington was here to hunt Boggy. No.
Yes! I liked it. What? Oh, here. Never mind.
The hunting photo leads me to believe Richard Remington was here to hunt Boggy.
Final chapter, The Hunter and the Hunted.
A secret society, an order of hunters, seeking out mysterious and elusive creatures.
The order goes further than this one man, and much further than this one swamp.
The whole thing is kind of distressing. I knew something was wrong as soon as I stepped into that office.
I'm glad you've finally come around. It's not just
But what about Remington? He was a member of this order?
He made Boggy his own personal project, his own obsession. For years he hunted the creature, the potential perfect addition to his collection.
But he owned the tourist attraction. He set it up himself, didn't he?
He did. It was just his way of forming a legal loophole. Since the area became protected, he and his friends were unable to come here for hunting anymore. Boggy's Bog was just a front for his own little game. A man pursuing a creature.
A creature that might not even exist.
And that's why Remington kept a rifle nearby at all times?
Well, exactly. He didn't want to take any chances.
Now, don't you see? I did this place a service. Did Boggy a service. That creature, he can live in peace again.
Can he? You tried to frame him for murder. You wanted everyone to think he was some kind of ruthless predator?
Well, think about it. Once he became suspected of murder, they'd have no choice but to shut this whole place down. Everyone would finally realize they had no business here.
But he's not a killer. How can you know what Boggy wanted?
How can you know what Boggy wanted? He might not be what you're...
Detective.
It's
finished. Well, don't be angry. You should be glad. It's finally time to leave the swamp. You have another job to do.
I don't know.
Not that it makes any difference to somebody like you, but I never intended to kill him. Just to scare him. Convince him Boggy wasn't going to let him live here in peace any longer. But, true to form, he had his rifle on him. You worked out the rest yourself.
It doesn't make any difference.
You're right. It doesn't make any difference.
Well, Mr. Everstone, I'm afraid you'll still have to come with us. Fortunately, there's a police station just a few miles down the...
Hey, wait!
Whoopsie. So she was not Boggy, but she was a friend of Boggy.
Aha!
Aww.
Looks like you solved more than one mystery tonight.
Grimoire.
Well, what did they decide to do?
We had Mr. Everstone questioned. He was happy to tell us everything he knew. A number of rumors going around the department have been confirmed.
And Remington's office?
Searched down to the last detail. And well, we agree with you, but I know what you're thinking. I'd love to put an end to it, just the same as you. But there's always...
Are we going after them?
We'd better be.
Yes, please make more. More! We have to go after all these crazy hunters with the little girl. I love the little girl. I love her. Alright, achievements. What do we get? So we did not get Haunt the Swamp, Slickest of Sleuths, Due Diligence, Boggy's Fan Club, or Intruder Alert. I guess maybe you have to, like, talk to everyone about everything and stuff like that. Definitely want to know what's in the tent. Let's see if I can sort of figure that out. Alright, so, we could go back to just before, the final chapter and figuring everything out. now we can go and look at the tent. So I actually looked up how to do the tent, and it turns out that you get, it's, here we go.
It's a poster.
Here, it's this, copyright 1934. That's what's in the tent.
I'm impressed someone and I...
So here we go.
It's...
So it's 1934. It should be.
It's a journal. I guess it belongs to Echo. Bad news. Remington is dead. I don't know what to do. Was my whole protest in vain? They'll shut this place down, sure, but I'll never know if I got through to him. That's all he's written.
That was the intruder alert achievement. So we got 100% of suspects and 100% of notes. So, what are we missing here is the question. See if I can walk around and find that.
Few.
I have a suspicion it may have been the murder weapon.
Really? I thought Remington was attacked by something with claws, wasn't he?
Okay, so you didn't hear all of it, but yeah.
Why are you
Here.
carrying that around with you?
I have a suspicion it may have been the murder...
So, I'm showing him everything. So, he said something about the fire poker.
What?
You're not a bad detective.
Well, I found the photo in Remington's office. It was ripped up, though. I think he was some kind
He
of...
was a lot of things. Don't lose that picture. And show it to Mr. Harper before you leave.
I think I've already done that, but sure. Cool. So I found something interesting here. You can click show the cameraman the bug dog.
That's the food I saw Mr. Remington eating at the cafe last night.
Before he got ill and rushed back to his office?
That's right.
This is going down in my notebook. It might be important.
Vincent's work, I see. I'm glad he knows how to use the camera at least.
What do you think all those noises are?
Well, judging by the time this was recorded, I'd be able to make a pretty good guess.
Alright, so talking to Van de Pants, he has some comments about these two objects.
He's a talented man, that Burl. Sometimes I wonder if he'd be better off pursuing his photography full-time, you know. I don't know if it's any use to you at all. I'll film again tonight and try to get a version without all those bizarre noises in the background.
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Those were awesome noises. I'm curious if Mr. Folder here will have any comments on this missing page.
Is that the missing page of the journal?
I think so.
It's an important artifact. It belongs in a museum.
Nope.
Yeah, you're not wearing the right hat to be saying that.
Yep. Alright, so this dude has a couple of comments on some other items as well.
This is just a piece of junk they sell to tourists. It has no resemblance to the real creature.
And some of these comments are also what gives more percentage on this, the clues. More info, so I got a couple more percentages there.
So, you found it. I wonder who else knows about it. Guesswork. Nobody can know what Boggy's feet look like. It's his greatest secret.
Okay, so the last little clue that gave me 100% was from Sally, I think her name was? It was this, the photo.
This was taken near the forest at the back of the swamp, correct?
Yes, I think so.
Mm-hmm. The water is really clear back there. The legs of this thing are reflected in the bottom half of the photo. It's a nice shot, actually.
A reflection? Oh, yeah, of course. A reflection in the water.
So it doesn't have super long legs, it's a reflection in the water. So I think I've got 100% in everything. I'm not sure which achievements we don't have. Okay, so I just got complete the game 100% S rank, so still don't have these three. Haunt the swamp. There's a little ghost there. I'm gonna work on them. Okay, so getting Boggy's fan club, I just have to click on the mugs of the gift shop. Due diligence is have full suspicion on the character on the murderer and none of anyone else. So you have to go straight for the murderer. Haunt the swamp was like draw a cute ghost in your notebook. I don't really know how they think I'm supposed to do that, but yeah. Quit the menu. Yeah. Cool. So, with that, we have played the entire game and done everything, and we got into the tent and everything. So, it was a weird ending there, but hey, we did everything, 100%, blah blah, everything. Cool. Oh, there's the moon. So, that was Detective Grimoire. I thought it was a super fun, cute little game. I saw this also out for iOS. It's probably for touchscreens from the beginning. It feels kind of touchscreeny, actually. So, yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope there's going to be more Detective Grimoire games. Woohoo! Looking forward to that. So, yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in some other cool adventures. So, bye-bye!